from the outset, the way in which this process was supposed to be managed is that the Congress National Committee would set criteria for the nomination process and procedures for that to be done. Unfortunately, some structures, including the interim regional leadership, provincial leadership in the Eastern Cape, the interim youth leadership, and the interim leadership in Gauteng, or let me say parts of those leadership, prematurely went to the public arena and announced who their preferred candidates were. Now, this is a highly undemocratic way of doing things because the only structures which are supposed to make nominations are those of democratically elected branch leadership or regional leadership and so on. And what was unfortunate was the unseemly haste with which people rush to pronounce their preferred candidate. It's not about whether it's this or that candidate. It's not a question of being pro-Shaloa or pro-Lekota, as some people have tried to argue, but it really is about what kind of democratic process you want in your party. And it has been most unfortunate because subsequent to that, when those of us who have tried to correct the way the processes have gone, have unfortunately been vilified. I mean, the Eastern Cape interim leadership group under Andile's leadership have not only pronounced that the statement that we made was not mandated, but have gone further to accuse me, for instance, of taking a view simply because I wasn't nominated by the Eastern Cape structures. That in itself was not true because there are structures in the Eastern Cape which have nominated. But the fact that they would go to such lengths to personalize things, to conduct such factional kinds of politics is unfortunate.
Andile?
No, I disagree with Philip. He knows it. There is no decision by any structure of COPE. He knows where he got that instruction. And if there's anything that is factional, it is that instruction, where you abuse the position of incumbents in order to protect your position. There is nothing in the constitution of COPE that bars us to express a view. Individual members of COPE in branches today, even before the nomination process, are expressing a preference. They lobby each other towards those meetings. And we have said it was not a nomination, it was an expression of a preference. It's a lobby process, and it is allowed. And it's unfortunate that they may not like the outcome of the view that we express, but we will continue to express this view and we will mobilize provinces. As I've said to Philip last week on this matter, as it has happened, many provinces are going to pronounce. This week I expect Northwest to make its pronouncement on these issues because there's nothing that we're breaking any rule in COPE by doing these pronouncements, because we're all going to provincial general councils, we're all going to branch nomination processes, we're all going to go to provincial congresses and nominate formally. This is a formal nomination. Sakina, you cannot 5 weeks before a national conference. We are told there cannot be views in COPE, but we must leave this part. It is the most abnormal situation that Philip and others expect of us. Natural, the debate is heated. The debate is intensifying among members of COPE, expressing this view or that other view about these issues.
Philip?
No, look, I mean, as I said, Andile, you are entirely entitled to your personal view as to who you want as a leader. But for you to say that it's a lobbying process when branches have not pronounced their views to you as an interim leadership in the province, for you to then go and say, we as an interim leadership have met and this is our view, it's profoundly undemocratic, and it's similar to other undemocratic practices in your province. For instance, you, Andile, have gone on platforms to say that you will not allow Terra Lekota to come to your province to campaign. On what basis do you say a thing like that? You say it because you have a preferred view. I have not expressed a preferred view for Terra Lekota or for Imbazima Shaloa. And you know yourself, in the debates that you and I have had personally, I've never expressed a view of one candidate over another. Our role as leadership of the party is to create a space for membership, not to close the space down. But when you, as a provincial leader of an interim structure, mind you, go and then say to people, this is my preferred view, what you do is you stifle the opportunity for membership to express themselves. It's not that you can't have a view, but you must have a view in your branch. You can't use a structure such as an interim leadership structure of the Eastern Cape or of the youth movement to go and lobby people with a particular view. That's the issue that I'm raising. And what I'm saying is that because no pronouncements had been made, it was premature for you to go as leaders to make such a pronouncement. Of course, once as the CNC we had decided on the rules, then you're free to go and lobby for whoever you want. But you can't jump the gun, as it were, and lobby. That's the point that I'm making. And I don't dispute your right as an individual leader of COPE to express a view one way or the other. And Andile, you know that. So my complaint or my beef is not to say that you shouldn't prefer candidate X to Y. It's simply to say it's unseemly to jump the gun on the process.
But Andile, have you actually expressed the view that President Lekota will not be welcome in the Eastern Cape?
It is so untrue. I'm shocked that Philip could descend to this kind of levels, because Lekota was in the province this past Thursday when we were commemorating the death of Yona, the first member of COPE in the country who was killed on the day we were elected.
But you wrote to...
Can I finish, Philip? I gave you a chance.
Okay, Philip.
And you actually wrote
give me a chance,
to say
Philip.
that he shouldn't come to your province.
Okay, let's get Andile to respond, Philip.
I'm saying Lekota was there. The issue that Philip knows, that we've raised, which is the issue of protocol, that any leader of COPE is free to come to a province, and we can't gag anyone, even to campaign for his candidates. But if he comes in the official capacity, surely the entry point is a provincial leadership. But secondly, remember, just to correct Sakina something here, and it's important for members of COPE to accept this. Philip, you are a spokesperson of the party, and you communicate those that are decisions of this party, not your preferences, your personal views, in that capacity. Official capacity. And therefore, I can point it to you and I'll repeat it to you.
Okay, hold on, I'm confused. So you saying you as Andile, as an individual in the party, you are allowed to express a view, back a particular candidate, but Philip can't?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying Philip, in his capacity as the head of communications of the party. Remember, he's a spokesperson official.
Hold on, Philip, hold on. I'm trying to get Andile to clarify. Okay, let's get Andile to clarify. You were saying?
No, the point I'm clarifying, but remember, Philip is an official office bearer of the party. In his capacity as head of communications, his role is to communicate positions of COPE.
So he should not be expressing a preference.
No, he can express a personal view. But I'm saying in that capacity, that's why I'm saying, Sakina, Philip, he may have this view, and I respect it. We may have a difference on this issue. But I'm saying he can't then hide behind the official position of being head of communications and create the impression that there's a decision of COPE that we cannot lobby until some sense meeting is set and decided. I'm saying there's no such a decision.
And Philip, the perception out there is, of course, that you...
Look, it's not true. I have not, as the head of communications, expressed a view of any candidate over another. What I've said is that until such time as the processes are agreed to and the lobbying rules are set and the process for nominations are set, no structure of the Congress of the People should pronounce its view one way or another. That is an absolute logical consequence of the way in which the process has gone. And the CWC even said that we would go so far as saying that until branch audits were finished, we would not hold any more regional and provincial conferences. So I'm not expressing a view that is contrary to what the structures of the party want. I'm actually saying those structures who are pronouncing are premature. And mind you, it's not me as an individual that says this. That press release was circulated to all the officials of the Congress of the People, and Mvumi Dandala and Kera Lekota responded to say, we agree, that's the right position.
Okay,
so
Philip.
You can't turn around and say it's Philip Dexter's view. But by the same token, Andile and Dexter is the interim chairperson of the Eastern Cape. He is not supposed to stand there as the interim chairperson and say, I will guide my structures to nominate Comrade A over Comrade B. He's supposed to say, I'm the chairperson of the Eastern Cape. All our structures, please make your nomination, and we will then forward those through to the national process.
Okay.
And that's what you're saying he hasn't done. Because by expressing a view, he has preempted what branches are doing. And mind you, people have been going to branches in the Eastern Cape and lobbying them and saying to them, you must nominate person X over person Y. That can't be right.
Okay, but I want to ask you, Philip, when will the nomination process be wrapped up? Because it's only 5 weeks before the conference.
Well, precisely. I mean, that's one of the problems has been that at the center of COPE, nobody, and that's the responsibility of the Secretariat of COPE, has presented us with a proposal of how these processes are supposed to take place. So, it's part of the question that people are raising about readiness for the Congress. Personally, I don't want to postpone the Congress. I think our responsibility as leaders, both myself and Andile, and despite the difference that Andile and I are expressing, I have the highest regard for him as a leader. He would know, and he said himself, that the working committee has not been sharp enough to raise these issues and to say these are the proposals that we need to give to our structures. So we must, as a working committee, take that criticism, and the leadership of the party must come forward to the structures and say, this is how you nominate, these are the rules for lobbying. And like I said, once those rules are in place, Andile, anybody else can nominate any individual. I can do the same thing. I'm not for or against any one candidate. I'm for the Congress of the People and the processes within it.
Okay, we're going to have to take a break.
Radio.